Happy Wednesday, people. Sorry for the delay. Welcome to the Kris and Gina show. I'm Kris.
I'm Gina.
This beautiful woman to my right, your left, is the woman known as Gina B. So, listen, today's show is entitled, and I expect we might get into a friendly, spirited debate, conversation, but we're no strangers to that. But before I do that,
did we have sound, Jake? Someone's saying we have no sound.
do we have sound?
Okay, that was delayed.
Gina B,
okay.
don't interrupt my
There was
monologue
there was a
again,
thing.
please. Sorry, Gina B is interrupting my monologue.
God forbid.
And the reason for this show today, and it's called "Are Women Getting Angrier?" There's a myriad of reasons for this. I just noticed the dating game, people aren't pleasantly prized. Now, there are men angry too, but this show today, I had a conversation with a few women, and they shared some pretty good things, and I want to show it to you. Before we start, it is National Chocolate Day.
Oh, well, no one told me that.
Happy National Chocolate Day
I
to
love
all of you.
chocolate.
Happy National Chocolate Day.
All this chocolate we got on screen.
It is. We do. We got a lot of chocolate on the street. It's some other day too. It's National.
No one cares if it's chocolate day.
True. All we care about is National
That's
Chocolate
all we
Day.
care about.
It's National Chocolate Day, people.
Chocolate.
It's National something else, like Global Run
There's a day for everything. I swear
It's like 3 days.
It's probably a National Diarrhea Day.
True. I gotta know.
Okay, well.
By the way, we do have two guests.
We do. Let's bring them in.
Wait, not yet. Wait a minute. Not
They're
yet.
fun guests.
First off, these are not just ordinary guests. These are some of, I would say, Kris and Gina's favorite guests.
Yes, they are.
They are well-spoken. They are intelligent. And I'm not just saying that because they went to my alma mater. But that's one of the reasons they are just intelligent. But they tend to have, they're not goers-alongers. They don't go along with everything.
No.
So
they have a beat to their own drum.
But along with them, I would like you folks as well. We will also be putting your comments up. Gina B is going to be the timekeeper because trust me, in matters of the heart, matters between the sexes, folks tend to get long-winded, yours included. So if you see us, I got 3 rules for this show, and then we'll bring in our guest.
Okay.
I may repeat things for people coming on to the show new. No, everyone doesn't watch from the beginning. Number 2, again, I may silence a long-winded reply from my co-host or one of the guests, or Gina B may silence me from a long-winded answer to keep the show going. And the last rule is, and we may also do that to hear a great question from you. And the last rule is, the rules are subject to change. Now, with that,
forget the rest of
super producer Jake, can you bring in my guest?
Here we go.
Sean, how are you, sir? Looking good, Monarch. He also went to a great high school, by the way.
Hi, Sean.
Represent all day. Blue smoke.
All day.
Tara Lynn Cole of Illini fame. How are you today, doctor? We can't hear you. Try it again.
I said I'm good, thank you.
Awesome.
You look
Welcome
wonderful
back.
as always. Welcome back.
Both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sean, I don't know if you saw, Terry Lynn was a guest on a show last. Well, you did see that. So,
Yes.
and based on some of Sean's great questioning and comments, I wanted them both on here.
Yeah, no, this is perfect.
Plus, just in case there's too many of the feminati to jump on me this show, I need some help from my male brethren.
Okay.
So Gina B, throw it out there. I called Gina B up and said, hey, do you think there's women angry in relationships? So she's going to spearhead this. I'm going to listen for a while. Start off with either one.
Okay, so when we say angry, are we talking about argumentative? What are the hallmarks of anger in your mind when
All right,
we
so this is a relationship show, right?
Yes.
So everything leads back to that.
Exactly.
I think an angry man or a woman that had nothing to do with a woman or a person in his life. If he's angry about his job and lets it weigh in too much, I think that affects his relationship. So this is an anger period.
Mm-hmm.
And as it pertains to relationships, and I will let you know, this was an idea, and Gina B knows this. I did a Google search, and I want to know if there's any other people that thought that, because I see a lot of angry people. And sure enough, I looked up 2022 shows that women, and this was a Gallup poll, were 6% more stressed and angrier than they were 9 years ago. And they cited reasons from the pandemic, women taking on increased professional and domestic roles, and it's trickled down to relationships because I see a lot of angry folks out here, and I like to see folks getting along, falling in love, and reproducing because smart, good-looking people are losing to the ugly, dumb people in the world.
Okay. That's fair. Now, okay, and this is global, by the way, because a lot of these statistics that we read, and we'll post them on our Kris and Gina Facebook page. So if you want to see some of these statistics, we're gonna post them on so you guys can.
So you've read some of these?
I have, yeah. No, I read some.
You
of
thought
these.
I was just blowing smoke up your ass?
Well, what I asked you when you brought this up, no, because he said he'd read some articles, and I was like, well, from whose perspective?
All written by who?
I wanted to know if there were any women that were actually saying this, or if it was all coming from
how many women
source.
read?
There were quite a few articles written by women that we sourced. All four that he sent me were written by women. But there were others. But I had to ask that question because it's like if all men are saying is women are angry, but if women are saying we're angrier, then it's obviously something that we're feeling. Okay.
I want to know first before you can go in there.
Yes.
What they think. Well,
I'm about to do that. Okay. So, Sean, I'll start with you. Do you feel that women are angrier now than we have been in 10 recent past years?
Again, thanks for having me. That's a loaded question. It sounds like projection is the way we're defining this because something else is going on in their lives and they're bringing that to their relationship. Hard for me to assess that other than peering through other people's relationship because I've been married it'll be 24 years in August. So my wife isn't angrier, I don't think. But I would say I believe women are angrier. And it manifests itself through a lot of ignorant, I'll say it, a lot of TikTok videos that come out that are, you can't put too much into that, but there's a lot of anger being expressed.
You brought up a good point, and a lot of this is at single women because I hear most of the anger chatter outside of my home from either guys or gals. So great point. Thank you for pointing that out.
Okay, Terry Lynn, you say what?
I think women have always been angry. I just think that there are more outlets to describe their anger. Women have been angry for a long time, going back in history. And in particular, I think Black women now are able to vocalize their anger. And we know that, trauma is an inheritable thing, and it can be passed down generationally. So it doesn't necessarily happen to you, but you can definitely inherit that. And so what you see on TikTok and social media and all these things, I think are a confluence of what's happening now with how higher education doesn't necessarily determine that you're going to get a job the way that it may have 20 or so many years ago. And that there doesn't necessarily mean too that the government is going to help you out, the way that it did so many of our family members when they came into the cities and were encouraged to move into factories and that sort of thing. When it comes to dating, I think the laws have changed a lot for women who have kids. There are a lot of power in certain states that are given to men now too. So there's just no guarantee that if you have children with a man and you marry him or you divorce him, or if you remain a single person, that the court is going to favor you necessarily. And that it's very common now that you're paying child support as a woman to a man.
That's a good thing, right? That's a good thing, right?
I think if you want to maintain a certain lifestyle for your child, which is my hope is that you do, right, as a woman, then and you have the financial means to do so, then yes. Quite often, I don't know if that's necessarily the case, and we always want the justice system to work for us, but quite often it does not, and so
some of us.
So you're finding that a lot of women, along with the right to vote, are having to take on a lot of roles that traditionally have been given the burden and the responsibility to men. And then also having to take care of kids, which haven't always been responsibilities of men, and then also work jobs.
I think that, as far as single women are concerned,
those are great points. Right?
Yes, very good points. Because I mean, those are systemic reasons that will contribute to how women feel on a day-to-day basis. I mean, it can be very anger inspiring. As far as single women who are dating and who don't maybe have kids, or people who are not. That's a good point. Wait, it's a quote. And I'm going to stop my point to read this quote, to read this comment. Are women angry? Is questions that is asked only by men. Women do not view themselves that way. What men notice is women being adult humans and not understand that they are not owed any grace person.
When you're done.
We want to respond to that,
After
Kris?
you do.
No, you respond. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go. It made me angry.
First, I want to respond to Terry Land. I agree with all of that. I do think there's something to be said, though, because I think the advancement in women's jobs and education, I think that's a beautiful thing. I think the choice to be able to work and rise high in a career, or you have a choice to be a housewife or a choice to do whatever, not have kids or be single or be married. I think the choice itself and the tolerance for thing is a beautiful thing. But I also like to say, man or woman, with that comes a reality that other things you're going to miss out on. So if you choose to have a kid with someone and you chose wrong, whatever, his fault, your fault, whatever it is. There are people who fought for women to be able to raise that kid. I always look at outcomes, and because I think you made a great point earlier, a lot of kids are raised with trauma. So I'm wondering, is our current system working? If half the folks are getting divorced, maybe some of those kids should be with their dads. All right, I'm just not going to sit here and pretend.
I mean, some of them probably should.
I know some idiot dudes. I know some idiot women. I know some idiot people. And I don't think it's one size fits all, as our society does too. Can you put the comment back up again? I want to hear Jenny B's response and then Terry. I can clearly see now says, are women angry? Is the question is asked by only men. Women do not view themselves that way. What men notice is women being adult humans and not understand they're not owed by any grace to any person.
Well, so the question there becomes is what question I posed to you earlier, which is it okay for men to be angry, but not okay for women to be angry?
That's saying something different. So that your point is a great question.
Well, it's only asked by men is the point there. Are women angry?
I gave you 4 articles, all written by women.
Right.
So it's that I knew that there's a woman that's going to say that, because women always jump at me and say, well, why are men commenting on women's stuff? Well, women comment on men all the time. Y'all and trifling ass Negroes out here every day. I see your post. I get it. So we don't care, because we learned at a very early age that life is kind of unfair. I've been having women turn me down from 16. I wasn't guaranteed a job or spot on the team if I wasn't good enough, right? And career-wise, we know, hey, things don't work out. And so I think it's a question that I'm asking women. Personally, I think women make great decisions in life. You can look at it in education-wise. Yeah. One can argue, especially in the Black community, it's far superior to the this body of men versus a body of women. And women are killing the game. Keep doing it. I got 3 daughters. Keep killing the game. But I also would like to ask, when it comes to relationships, how realistic are they? I mean, is some of that anger? I always say a lot of what happens to you is based on what that person and the choices that person in the mirror has made, man or woman. Men don't really point around and say it's somebody else's fault.
No, well, there are plenty of men who do that, to be clear. I know a lot of men who point the blame at everybody else. I'm not saying that
I'm just wondering.
There's a good faction of men who do that.
I was asked about something about men. I answered it directly. Yet most women, and you just did an example, say something about a woman. They'll say, what about men?
No, but you're the one who said you don't see men doing that. I'm like, yes, you do. No, but that's not. No, but that wasn't what. Okay, anyway.
I disagree with that first statement that are women angry is only asked by men. I mean, the sheer fact that we have Gina here sitting as the host dispels that first part of that that whole point.
She was
no disrespect, and even the articles, the researched articles. So I disagree with that completely. I just think women may say it to their friends or not be out and be as vociferous as some of us are. with when women are angry. But I mean, the point that the question I want to ask is, what anger are we talking about? Are they angry at work or angry in a relationship? And then the things that Terry Lynn brought up is the advancement that women have at this point, due to the feminist movement and all that women's movement. Now we're supposed to be equal, which I agree with wholeheartedly. But if you want to be equal, then there comes that responsibility with being equal. You're a woman who decided to have a child without a man because you don't need a man, but you're angry about that. Who are you angry at? So, I mean, if you're angry, the question is, what are you angry about, and who should you direct that anger to? The question was posed initially. That's why I said it sounds like projection. I'm mad about work, or I'm mad about this with someone else, so I'm gonna project that in my relationship. And some of that happens with how we pass that on to our kids. Some who do, and that's to me a totally different discussion. But just who are you angry at, and why are you angry at them? If you're not looking in yourself, because there takes some introspection that needs to occur when you're angry. What role did I have in my anger?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing, to be able to look in the mirror and say, okay, who am I angry at? Ultimately myself, because I'm here as a result of my own choices, exactly like you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we're all where we are as a result of our own choices. But then I have friends who are angry to the point where it's like, I don't know that you're going to find a man, because your first inclination is to snap off, right? And that's not going to help.
Like they've been hit with child support.
No,
women don't.
They have no children.
They don't like that.
Being hit with child. No,
there were women
no
who were
woman
mad
likes
that
to
Halle
hit that.
Berry had to pay child support. I'm like, Halle can afford it. She chose them, dude. They were mad.
Right.
They were mad. I was worried about the dude that Halle Berry was paying child support to.
You worried about him?
Thought it was going to be a murder.
Mary J is mad because she has to pay alimony, and she expressed that, I think, at the Essence Fest.
If I were her, I'd be mad that I'd pay alimony too with that situation.
Man, dude, I pay child support.
I get that, but the other side of the coin is you have women who are in a relationship with men, don't do anything as far as it relates to his career, and she gets half. When they break up, for whatever the reason, she gets half.
It works there.
I'm not arguing against that, but what I'm saying is, what's good for the man paying alimony, then the woman should have to do that as well.
Yeah. And Catherine Bover makes a good point. Okay, so we focused on education more than having a balance, and then more than having a balanced life, and we thought we would have more success in relationships. My contact lens is super cloudy. I wouldn't say angry, but more fed up and disappointed. And I would tend to agree with that.
What does your success, though, have to do with your relationships?
Well, we're the ones that are conflating that.
Oh, yeah.
We're conflating that.
Yeah, Catherine, and Gina and I have talked about this at length. I've even talked to Terry Lynn about this, and probably Sean. I get it. Person works. A woman works. She's got a master's degree, a big house, a bunch of money. She wants a man with the same. Unfortunately, that's only looking at what I want, the woman wants, while never considering what does the object of my desire want. He doesn't value the same things at life if he's got the same. Men like younger. They like friendly. They like flirty. They like in shape. So they're not even. It's beautiful that you got it. It's always carrot on a cake when a woman has more money. When it comes to pulling a woman, man is not. He doesn't care. CEO date a janitor. She fine enough, and she smiles and laughs at his jokes. So those two don't. That's the reason. And somebody didn't tell you that. That because black folks, me too, we were lied to when we were kids. I was in the barbershop.
A lot of black people were mad about that.
They kept telling me to be a player, man. You don't let a woman hold you down. Do your thing, make your own money. And I went living that life. I didn't get married until later because I was delusional. I'm thinking, well, I can't let them hold me down. Well, life works better when you have someone, you find them early and it works with you. Mm-hmm. And, they tell young women, be strong and independent. You don't need a man. Have your own. Don't be. I'm like, what? Being evil? Yeah. So that's what that our community has just been toxic. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just bringing light to it. So I'm not saying one's right or wrong, but this being a relationship show, I tell women every week, if you want that guy, just like men, if I want that woman, I better find out what that woman likes. She likes the dude that drives a car. I'm going to get a car.
Right.
We don't think twice.
Well, I think some of this could, and Terry Lynn can weigh in on some of this because I feel like some of it can be generational because we come from
Keep that up, too.
Our generation. I was raised by a woman who, my mother and father were together till she died, but she had a lot of friends who got divorced and they were like ass out, right? Like they got divorced, they had no money, they had no means of visible support. And so they raised their daughters, this generation, to go out, don't worry about men, make your own money, don't get displaced, and you will have a happy life. And a lot of women, they did that, right? They went out, we got degrees, we got great jobs, we got all this. And then you look up and you're like, and I'm still not particularly, I still want a mate, I don't have it. I'm still not having success in relationships. So what have I been doing this whole time, right? And so, I don't know, I think that kind of plays a part.
Yeah, you made a choice.
You know, you made a choice, but you were necessarily
thankful to have a choice.
Making the most informed decision. Tara Lynn, what do you think about that?
No, I understand that. I understand that. And, you know, I was very fortunate growing up with two parents that had advanced degrees. But my father was very clear in saying, you know, I'm raising you and your brother differently, and you are not going to like it. My dad and I we at it because I couldn't understand why my brother had such freedom. And he made it abundantly clear to me, you have got to be independent. You've got to understand how to balance a checkbook. You've got to understand how to mow the lawn. You need to know how to change your own tire.
Yes.
And you need to be able to negotiate for yourself. You need to be able to speak up for yourself when somebody butts in front of you in the line. You need to be able to negotiate for any kind of deal on a car. If you need your oil changed, you need to know what they're going to talk to you about on there, and the fact that you're going to be a doctor. My dad told me that at 4 years old, and so that stuck. And what he said to me was, everything that I have taught you, that I am teaching you, he said, and how you look and how people perceive how you look, you are going to have a difficult time finding a Black man who's going to be comfortable with that, who is going to be able to support you, let you have the limelight, even though you are, as you say in your own words, a loud, nerdy girl, and be happy with you. You're not going to find it. And Daddy is sorry for that, but I am not sorry for teaching you to be able to take care of yourself. And that does not mean I don't believe that there is some man out there for you. All I'm saying to you is it is going to be incredibly difficult. You're going to have a lot of heartache from it. And he said, and you are going to start experiencing it soon. You're going to see it in high school. I thought he was out of his mind. You know what I mean? Like, what is he talking about? But when I look back on it, I wasn't asked to homecoming. I didn't go to prom.
He did some good stuff.
He did great stuff.
You're a doctor, and Dad, I've heard about
what I mean?
So he did something right.
He did. He absolutely did. But I understood what he was talking about. But then I also saw, you know, how he and my mother had this relationship together, how loving it was, how they were best friends, how they did all this stuff. But they went through a period where they divorced and got back together. By the time their divorce was final, they were back to getting remarried on Valentine's Day. I mean, it was just like that, because he knew that artificial turf he thought was the greater green grass across the street. It wasn't better than my mama.
Yeah, the grass is greener where you water it.
Yeah. And, you know, so on one hand, you know, you have single women raising fantastic children to be independent, but you also have two-parent families saying the exact same thing. So it's not necessarily now we have these single moms. Yeah, it's very much, okay, this is the world that we live in. And you got to be better than, because if you want this type of job, they're already going to look at you and think you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's a Black person thing.
Right.
But
I want to get to the...
Yeah, okay. We get to the point.
But it's also a Black woman thing if you're going into a male-dominated field.
For sure.
Right.
It is. Yep. Okay.
I want to get to
this quote that we've had up on the screen for a while.
Okay. I'll read this one.
Go ahead.
You read sort of bad.
Yeah, well, because I have a cloudy contact lens.
Excuses. Today. It might be the alcohol.
Shut up.
Whatever. Answering that code, thank you for chiming in. I'm going to read it for those on a different social media channel. Answering that code says it's a double standard. Women are expected, similar to what Terry was saying, expected to be the wife, the mother, the caretaker, the referee, the teacher, the cook, the server, the lawyer, the lady, the brick house, the freak in the bedroom, plus pay half the bills. In addition, to smile when you walk in the house. All men are expected to do is provide financially most of the time. Now, I think that is the thought of a lot of women, especially Black women. It is not what I think. I'm in disagreement.
No, because you be cooking.
I agree with one part of that. Smile when I walk in the house.
Okay.
That's all right. You know, smile, give me a sandwich, give me some bread. Men are simple. I will say some of those things she puts up are a choice. I have 3 daughters.
Okay.
Oldest is now a lawyer.
Yes.
I teach them all the same thing when it comes to men. First, find somebody with character. Character. Then money. And then all the rest. If you look good, that's on you. But I'm telling you, what works is respect, character, and I want them to get married early.
Right.
14. I mean, not early, but you know, my oldest went to Howard, Masters UFC.
Oh, Mariah's a lovely young lady.
Dating a guy right now, you know, and I'm looking at him like, hey man, my daughter about to be 30. She's like, really? I'm like, let that dude, he's a lawyer too now.
Okay.
When he's 40, if they're both single, guess who he's not going to want anymore? You better get them now. I'm just telling you the real.
Lock it down.
You know what I'm saying? You get them young. So for those women who choose to make a career, it still doesn't change what the man wants. We're not looking at a career. So all that, she chose to be a caretaker, referee, and teach, cook, period.
Well, so if what you're saying stands to reason, which I think it does. Okay, so what about the women who, you know, chose a career, right? And they're
wasted some time, but okay, you in lieu of money.
Wasted some time, but wouldn't it be a little bit crazy making if by the time you finish your career and you get out, then the men don't want you anymore? To your point,
so why
that's
not
what you're
marry
saying.
them sooner?
Lock it down early. But my point is, they were taught when they were younger that they need to worry about their career.
They were taught
and being
wrong.
Twice as good.
They were
and
taught
all that
wrong.
stuff. And then all of a sudden, they're in a pool of men who want nothing to do with them because they've aged out of the process.
They were taught wrong.
Wouldn't that make you a little angry?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Then I would be asking for the solution.
Okay.
And
which is what?
Be somebody's young thing.
So go older. Get yourself a old coot.
And sacrifice more on what women traditionally across the globe. Black women focus too much on looks. I know women outside of childbearing years, they want them to be fine.
Okay.
No.
4 out of 5 of them overweight, but yet the man must be fine.
I need Sean to weigh in real quick. Sean, you say what?
That's a lot to unpack, but in listening to that, she's right with the double standard, but that depends on your house. And what you agree to and what you do not agree to. Because in my house, I do the majority of the cooking when it's done. I taught my kids raising up and so many other things. So that is your house. But I wanted to point out what Kris spoke about earlier, that men are okay with, if I'm a CEO, he'll marry a janitor if she's cute enough and she laughs at his joke. But the reverse is not always true. We can go back and someone alluded to it in the comments about would this CEO woman.
Freeze.
No, unless he owns the bus.
Right.
Oh, that's right. The woman, who was she?
Pretty girl. Ebony K is beautiful as they come.
Ebony,
she will be
right. So you not only age out, but you could also possibly educate and career yourself out of a larger pool of men, because now once you reach this level, you don't want any man that does not come to that barrier that you have for yourself. That's what I've seen. Okay, I make $250K. He's got to make $250K or more. He can't make $200K because that's less than. So what do women do in those instances when you've, educated yourself out of a pool of men? And we're already a smaller pool of men, just speaking for the Black race, because of the lack of the number of education, men and women in college. That's hugely disparaging in favor of women, which is fine.
Black men still out-earn Black women. Make no mistake.
Yeah. But then those men that are single, that out-earn those women and have this large salary, now I know I'm a commodity, so I'm gonna be a player. Right. So, and those women don't want him. So that's a smaller pool that she has to pick from. And then not to mention the number of population of men who are in jail, incarcerated. So those are gone. And then women always bring up, half of the rest of the population, the men are gay or down low. So I don't want to deal with them. So I see you scrunching your face up a little, Gina. You don't agree with that? Or you don't hear that?
I'm not scrunching my face up at that. It's just like the whole download thing.
She was really trying to read a comment on her phone.
You said so yourself that you're out there sewing your real lips. Okay, Antoinette Cole.
Right, because everybody doesn't see that.
That's fair. Okay, you said so yourself that you were out there sowing your royal oats, getting as much as you can, right? But women should marry early. So
men and women aren't the same.
We're not aligned. We're not the same.
No, if it's a war, we get drafted first. Yes, you should get married early. A smart man should too. I should have. But you know what? I have more options for longer in this society. And it's not because of men. Women themselves will chase a not so attractive man who could be short if he has Jay-Z money or a CEO. Because Beyonce is with an ugly man. But all y'all, period. Because throughout history, men we know this. So we try to get money and we can have our choice of woman.
Yeah, can't you just see Beyonce with a McDonald's worker?
It doesn't work in that a broke dude with nothing going on, I don't care what he looks like. And every other race does not get the fine woman. Not in the black community.
He's got time to spend.
All I got to do is walk in the club and outlook better than everybody. And I got women playing house with me. So that's not just on men.
I think women kind of get over that.
I know women still sleeping with dudes. They have kids with them. And then talk about the losing the money he don't make. They chose them.
I get, okay. So
men are slow creatures.
Carolyn, you were shaking your head.
We only gonna do what y'all let us do. We that slow.
I get it. Carolyn, what you shaking your head about up there? What's going on?
A whole lot of that.
Tell me what I said that wasn't true.
No, so it's like this. Getting married early. Most of those men are not ready for that. And if you are,
I knew you were gonna go right to the men. That's what we do.
I need you to pump the brake. Just pump it. Leave your foot on there, Kris. Just hold tight. Okay, hold your mule.
Yes, ma'am.
So they're not ready for that. And if you are trying to be in school, okay, somebody like me, I didn't finish with everything that I did till I was 32. So all that stuff. So you mean to tell me that I need to be married to somebody while I'm doing all of that? That requires the type of studying. Now, see, and I'm going to generalize.
Was that a question?
Nope, I'm not a question. I'm making a statement. Hold your mule. So what I'm saying is, I would see my white girl classmates, those white boys who worked the garbage trucks, that were doing whatever they would do, the long hauls. They would bring lunch up to the med school. They were bringing dinner up there to the hospital. I mean, they were putting that time in. And what my girlfriends were saying was, yeah, because when I get through, it's his turn. Right. It's his turn. He's going to law school. He's going to do all. He's going to law school. This, that, and the third.
I bet they never told him to hold their mule.
Like I said. So what?
Hey, it is what it is.
So I didn't see black men waiting around. I didn't see them saying, I'm gonna take care of this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. But you also, to Sean's point, there are women who didn't marry professionals. I did it twice. Told my father, Daddy, they love me for who I am. They're gonna be good caretakers, all of that. I am a 2-time marriage survivor, and I am in a divorce remission. So I disagree with both of that. There are not black women out here saying you don't make enough that I do, so therefore I am not looking at you.
Oh, really?
That is true.
Wait a minute, hold on. I won't even respond. Let's let a woman respond.
No, keep talking. Okay.
What I'm saying is that I'm sitting here at 51 years old. What I'm saying is there are still women out here in this world who are looking around and saying, what is more important? Peace of mind, because I have financial stability. Is it peace of mind? And because time keeps going, there's nothing you can do about it.
They don't have peace of mind.
Well, okay.
Right. They tell
but to generalize.
No, I'm not generalizing. I can cite you the sources.
Generalize and say that the black women that attain higher education and all this money will not look at a man that makes less than her is not accurate. There
are a lot of women, Terry Lynn, everyone on here, including my guests, because I see them every week. Women who make a lot do want men. Now, whether most women who make a lot want a man who makes that or more. We've heard it on. We do this show every week. What's
that's the preference?
That's all I'm saying.
Right, that's the preference. But I think
that doesn't enter our minds.
The preference. I like that word, Gina. Preference.
It's a preference.
That's it. Preference.
What's the preference? Of course, no one's gonna say, "I really love to have a man make no money." Like, not.
We do. I don't know. We do it. We do it.
No, you don't.
We don't care about the money. It's a bonus.
You don't care, but you're not actively looking for women who make nothing. And they shouldn't care either.
They should care about character. Yeah. The reason in this country 50% of marriages end up in divorce is because people marry for the wrong reasons. Show of hands. Anyone who's seen somebody married 40, 50 years and they said, we stayed married because she had a nice ass and he had a bag. No, that ain't why.
That's not what they're going to say 40, 50 years.
That's what y'all want. And okay. True, you can't make a man want, like you, wait a minute. She said one thing she said, I was in school, I waited and I was in med school. And I applaud that because it's difficult. Mm-hmm. But in doing so, you made a choice. You can't say they should have waited on me. Because that's you know what? A lot of men want children, and the closer you get to 35, it becomes dangerous. And they don't want to deal with it. And they don't have to, just like you don't have to.
No, people
everyone's got a choice.
But I think the inception of the anger could be in relationships anyway, is there is kind of a disparity between
my life ain't what it wants it to be.
Exactly. How like nobody wants to be with me, nobody wants to treat me well, nobody is showing up for me in a way that I feel that a good partner should.
But do you agree with that's a great point. I agree.
That's where the anger is.
But let me
if they had all those things, then there would be anger.
Do you think the question they should be asking is the men that I want don't want blah 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 blah? Because there's people that like them. Yeah, well, they good character. They just don't want those men.
Right.
Okay. I know I got at least 5 DMs from dudes when Terry Lynn was on the show.
Okay.
Just by how she looked.
Did you pass those on to her?
I don't know if they'll.
But do the women change their preferences? Those women that you're referring to right now, Kris, that have those preferences, but then the school of men that want them don't meet those preferences. So is the onus up to women to change their preferences or clearly stated lower their standards?
I'm going to say this. I have never had a type. And I think that's pretty obvious based off of who I've dated, who I've been engaged to, who I married, based off of what they looked like, weight, height, what kind of jobs they had, all of that. I know as I've gotten older, some things are important to me. Sex is important to me. And it becomes harder for some men. Who says
a man with character can't have good sex?
I didn't say that. Your mouth said that. No, all I'm saying
I said character. My mouth said pick. I got 3 daughters. My mouth said pick character, then money, and the rest is on you. That's what my mouth said.
You don't want to
I'm telling you what's important. I'm giving you the answer to the test.
No.
Y'all don't want it.
I think your mouth said to get an older man. Is that what your mouth said?
When you're a woman who's older making money, yes.
Okay.
Or you get a young man, who can screw, but he ain't gonna have no money. Those are your options.
First of all,
you can say I ain't gonna sell and live by yourself.
Or you can have an old man for the money, and then you can have a side piece.
There you go. Those are all options. That's your choice.
I'm actually kidding, but not really.
Those are your choices.
Yeah. You
ain't got no other choice.
All I'm saying to you is that the idea that men still has these variety of options, right?
They do.
We do.
But no matter what their age is, they can have saggy balls, a limp dick, a huge gut, a moon roof, or they could be balding. Their face ain't their face is not connecting no more. None of it.
Yes,
and
we can have it all.
Walk in there with. They done pay for the BBL. The chick got a waist of 19 inches and a G cup and all that ass. And then I see why women do get upset about that kind of thing. Because you look and you say...
They created the world. They value money. The only reason the little short, fat ball NBA owners getting with these women, because the pretty ones want the money. See, we don't value that. We don't make these rules. We men will
no,
do
y'all do make
do.
No, you do make those rules, and you uphold those rules by contributing to that superficiality. Don't come here with that.
I agree. Everybody's superficial, but men are not attractive to careers. We're just not. I can't change that.
Well,
and you aren't.
I didn't get that career for a man. I got it for me.
That career.
So why do women use it when they're looking for a man? They say, "Well, I got a master's degree," as if he cares. You think that means something?
Well, I don't think. I tell women all the time, don't tell Negroes what you do.
Absolutely.
You don't tell a soul.
He doesn't need to know.
Genevieve, do you think men are visual creatures?
Absolutely, they are.
Yes, they are.
How do you think a lot of
women doesn't care what you do
in the looks department when it comes to visual
them what you do.
They don't care what you do. A man is only, as soon as you walk in the room, a man looks at you and he sizes you up, whether he's going to date you or not, if given the opportunity. Even if you had on a shirt that says, I'm an MD with a JD and every other acronym you want to put behind your name, it does not matter to a man. So not telling them doesn't help you or hurt you, but it definitely doesn't help you.
Sure doesn't, and it definitely has turned some folks away from me because they don't know what to say. And I'm like, you were talking to me fine when you thought I was just Terry Lynn.
Well, yeah, because as women, you have to be careful because you don't want to chum the waters with your accomplishments because then you start attracting men that want sugar mamas.
Right.
And you start throwing that out there. It's like,
that's what you're in the market. If that's what you're in the market
for.
I mean, okay, so with only a few minutes left,
read some of the comments because we have some good.
We do have good comments, but I wanted to talk about solutions.
Now, I got some. I saw See Clearly Now. I saw you've been watching, and you take these.
They're okay. I can see clearly now. Says I have a question. Although they are sexually attractive to women, do they really like them as humans?
Some of men.
Yeah, probably. Some men do not.
There's a man asleep with you if you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like he doesn't know you as a human.
We did a whole show with married women on what they did differently than single women.
Right.
And they act very differently.
Yeah, some of them
they don't give it up soon. They'll sleep with the dude that's the F boy. But the dude they really like, they ain't giving them none because they know they figured out men value was hard to get. They know that we like somebody to be nice and talk nice, which when we 24, everybody's sweet.
Look at what Sean
we just don't do well when we have $50,000 job at 50. If you talk to us loud, it's your choice. We just not gonna marry you.
Here's our buddy Sean Watson. Here's our buddy Sean Watson.
Come on, Chris.
Come on, Chris. Go ahead and read it.
You have coached your daughter to date men with earning potential. First, before I continue, character first, then money, and the rest is up to them. You can't tell women to do the opposite of what you're telling your daughters. I'm telling women to do just that. They character first, then money. I don't change, Sean. It's the same. Call my oldest daughter. She'll tell you. And she listened. Her aunts used to tell her when she went to prom, she's so cute, but she's dating these ugly dudes. I'm like, he's class president.
Yeah.
He's got a full scholarship.
Yeah, the point of a man really is
right now. She's got a dude. She only picks from the men who love her dirty draws. She doesn't say they ain't good men, they ugly, they this. No, because she knows how cold she is. That in that pool, a man with character can do all that. So she has a dude followed her around like a puppy. Sorry, Justin, if you're watching this, he just graduated with his law degree as well. And that's what she do: character and money. And everything else. Church.
Okay, so what else have we got? And then we need to do some solutions because I don't like to always identify these problems and then have nothing to offer. Like we need to talk about
I guess
how do people
I got some tips.
Move past their anger.
But first I got some tips.
And someone said this title is sexist. The reason why this title is what it is because we're just examining the
Stop that. Anything that people get upset about these days is sexist. I don't like it. I talk about men all the time. Stop it. It is what it is. It's reality. You don't like the reality.
We're just examining.
Whatever. Because DM me and curse me out. I appreciate it if it's thought-provoking. Now, some tips.
I like tips.
First off, and they'll like these tips. I think it's okay for women to be angry. I think getting it out is a good thing. I think projecting it on the loved ones is a bad thing. See, I've seen men do it as well. The job treats them bad and they go home and they put it on their wife and kids. That's a bad thing.
Yes.
So It's okay to be angry. I think more women would do better getting it out. I don't know what you need to do. Go fight club, go out with your girls, but get it out.
But do get it out, because that becomes illness.
Because Terry Lynn mentioned it, or you meant black women, especially in corporate America, they try to label you being angry. You're no angrier than anyone else. You're assertive and you're killing the game and it fucks with them. But you're human. So it's okay to be angry. So I don't want people to think Kris is saying, no, be angry. You're angry,
be angry.
Folk,
just let it out.
Women have a right to be. The only reason black men still narrowly out-earn black women is because of the disparity in gender equality when it comes to money. They shouldn't, based on their education. So that's kudos to y'all. Stand up for yourself, but don't look too dramatic. Just like you always see a brother yelling this racism, sometimes it is. Sometimes, Negro, it's you. Women need to know that. Seek help if necessary. Men we good at looking in the mirror and talking to your homie, man. It was me. I fucked up. I cheated. I did that. We do not follow it up with, because she did that. Because she did. No. We know we're responsible for our own choices. Women need to learn how to be accountable to themselves and to their girls. Stop telling her that damn outfit looks good when she go out. That's why she ain't getting nobody. Stop lying to each other. Use your anger to drive you. That's what I did at 16. I was like, they only like dudes with cars. I ain't got no car. I got me a job at 7-Eleven, mad as hell. But I made it happen. Use the anger to fuel you. And lastly, let your feeling guide you in relationships. I'm just a believer. I love my wife. She's beautiful, but I've dated even before that. I knew that I was dating very superficial. And these women that look good only were not making me happy, even though that's what people are like, oh man, you pulled her. You got whoever you like watching
that's
TV
just your
with.
Ego.
That we all have that. And that's true. You're right. See, I did that. I didn't say Gina people. What about? No, I did. I was shallow as fuck. And once if you can find that person you like watching TV with, and y'all laugh and it's just fun, try those types out. And I'm not saying they got to be butt ass ugly. Women always go to the extreme. He's got to have a penis. I mean, just find people that like you. Just pick out of the pool that loves you, and release. Don't project on them. Don't let the sins of men past haunt your beautiful selves. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
What you got? I want to hear from my guest, though.
Yeah, let's hear from the guest.
Was that bullshit, Terry Lynn? You're feeling me a little bit, ain't you? You smiling up there. I see you smiling.
No, I'm not. I can roll with some of that.
Sean, what are your thoughts?
I think you hit the nail on the proverbial head. I would just add some introspection as to why you're angry. And like you said, women are angrier, and they should be angrier in some instances, and release that anger. Don't try and cope with that anger which I see every day at my job, using substances to cover that up.
Yeah, man. So many
address that anger. Find out why you're angry, and then address the anger. I mean, and be real with yourself. Tell yourself the truth. If you have a very narrow pool of men you want to choose from, and you're not finding a man, then maybe you need to broaden that pool. How you broaden that pool is completely your decision.
Right. Unless you truly do believe being alone is happiest for you. There are some women and men who are happy being alone and just having some friends. There ain't nothing wrong. There's no wrong answer. But if you're not happy, you got to do something about it. That's all. I say that to men all the time. Dudes be like, man, she cheated. She spent my money. You picked her.
Well, there's that. And I think that if you don't, I mean, to further your point about taking responsibility, if you are not introspective about something that you're angry about, what you're kind of saying is that you get whipped around by things, which kind of makes you angrier, because that means that you have no control over what happened to you, when actually you kind of do in a lot of ways. Like, you can make, the minute you see some shit going south, then you can cut bait. The minute you can make decisions that get you out of bad situations, or you can make decisions not to be there, or you can handle people differently or teach them how to treat you differently. And there's always something to learn in every situation. So that's kind of how I look at it. But who am I?
Now, this is a show we could have kept going on.
Yeah, we could.
I'm going to have these people on the sideline. I'm going to have them back. I don't know for what. I don't know when. Real quick, couple of announcements. It's 7 p.m. We got a couple good things happening. Next week, we don't always go this heavy and smacking each other around. Next week is all about sex.
Yes.
I have a sexologist who's been on my show twice.
We love her.
She has, we had Goody Howard on the show. She's a sexologist. She makes a career off sex. She has taught me stuff about my penis. She's very smart. When the first time on our show,
good for you.
She had about 17,000 Instagram followers. Do you know she's up to 74,000 people?
Ooh.
She makes 6 figures a year.
Go Goody.
Teaches sex classes. It is a treat. Men or women, grab your girl on this one. This ain't one you're gonna be. Grab your girl and sit in on this one because Goody gives love to everybody. Tune in next week. We got Goody Howard on the show. I am gonna have Sean and Terry Lynn back. We're gonna continue this. We got to do this. Yeah, we're gonna choose the subject.
We gotta get this.
I've spoken to both of them offline, and yeah, we spent 20 minutes, saying being nice, but we're gonna do this again. So after this, Gina B and I, Brian Foster's show. If any of you ever seen In the Zone, it is an awesome show. We do just relationships. They do a little bit of everything. They shoot in the same studio. Gina and Kris will be on the show. It is not heavy. The topics.
This is going to be a fun one.
The topics for tonight are, Black debates. Yeah, we'll be talking about
Black debates.
If who's better, whose disc verse was better, Jay or Biggie. We're gonna be talking about Brown. We're gonna talk about which weave or natural hair. It's going off the chain. You can go to In the Zone on Facebook. I will also, in about 10 minutes, 15 to 12 minutes, I'll also broadcast it here on the Kris and Gina page. Again, Brian Foster and In the Zone. Sean Watson is usually a part of that. She's not on the show tonight. I hope she's somewhere zooming in. It's awesome. It'll be entertaining for everybody.
I can't wait, actually.
Yeah, definitely grab a cocktail. Gina and Kris, we about to be out of here. Gina, you got anything else to say?
Good. Thanks to the guests. We really appreciate it.
And shoot the comments. And you want to say, Kris, you an a-hole, but tell me why you think I'm an a-hole and stand back and we can have that. I'm okay with that. I get cursed out all the time at home. So I'm okay with it. Sean, as always, Monarch, thank you for being on the show. Tara Lynn, you're like the smartest,
most awesome as always
person I might. She's a great combination of smart.
Absolutely.
I got to give you a phone number. Talk to her on the phone for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Off the chain. Anyway, peace and love, y'all. Kris and
bye,
Gina,
you all.
We out of here.
Have a good show. Bye-bye.
Good night. Appreciate you.
All right,
Thank you.